Welcome back, everyone. We are here today, episode 204 of the Integrative Health Coach Success Podcast. It's great to have you here today. We're starting a brand new month. And of course, that means new opportunities for you, right? The beginning, at least a part of your 12-week year, trying to be able to achieve all of those goals that you've set for yourself. One interesting thing, and that I like to think about often, just during the course of my normal day, as I'm trying to, again, give gratitude like most of us for everything that we have and everything that we're doing and everything that we're working on in our life, is that I just have such an amazing team. Many of you have got to connect with them through IHP or Equalife or even Cabral Wellness. So you know many of the health coaches, you know the customer support team, you know the online health coaching team, getting your questions answered in Facebook groups, etc. And so I always think to myself, listen, this is, it's all worked out, amazingly well. There's lots of challenges. Don't get me wrong. It's not as they say, a picnic every single day, working with tens of thousands of people on a monthly basis, right? All around the world. But what I can tell you is that it's taught me a lot. I mean, I've really learned a lot over the last, now it's been 22, 23 years of full-time work and always in the same field. I've always been in the health-based field, right? I've started as a nutritionist and personal trainer, and then I got into strength and conditioning, certified strength and conditioning specialist. I started to integrate as a certified yoga instructor into this, got way deep into all different types of nutrition, went back to school, of course, got my doctoral degree in naturopathy, advanced studies in functional medicine, Ayurveda, et cetera, et cetera. But what I realized is that, I accumulated more knowledge, but that didn't necessarily make me better inside of business or work. It was just I was able to help people to a greater degree. So somehow, instinctively, I think it's almost like a protective mechanism, right? I learned who I was best to partner with. Now, even though I've always owned all of my own businesses, and they've always, again, been in the health-based space. I owned before I did anything, I had a consulting, I had an at-home personal training, nutrition-based business where I would go to people's homes and gyms and train them there. And I would work as a nutritionist, just phone calls from referrals for people. And then, of course, I had locations in Boston. But what I'm trying to say is this: I always had someone that was able to help me with the organizational parts of that. Now, it's not that I wouldn't say that I'm not an organized individual. However, when it comes to the customer service aspects and the management of people, I've always known that's not my strong suit. So in the beginning, I had to do all of those things. I hired dozens of people and then well over 100 people when I was consulting for health clubs everywhere. But I realized that is not my forte. I'm not naturally good at managing people. I'm not naturally good at doing all the follow-ups, all of those different things. It's just not what I do. If you listen to my episode today on the Cabral concept, and we're actually going to link it up because I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it's how to find basically your perfect business partner, because you don't want the same person as you. So that's at stephencabral.com/2565. And I'd really like you to listen to that today, because you're going to get a lot out of it in understanding who is the perfect person to partner with. But I'm going to share with you this. When I went through all of the different items today, I went through essentially the fiery red. That's more of that pitta-based mindset. That type of person is less patient, always on the go, wanting to create things, always looking towards the future, more of the leader, confident, driving forward, purposeful, full of passion, all of those things. That's more where I fall. That's just more my natural inclination. I've always been like that. That's that kind of pitta-based mentality. All right. Then before, or I should say after that, we have someone that's more social. They love going out and talking with people. They love meeting with people. They're very enthusiastic. They're persuasive. They're a good salesperson, talker, all of those things. And you might be multiple of these, but you try to find the one that you're more of. And then why this is important, you want to find also the one that you're almost the opposite of, right? And then we're going to talk about that in terms of partnerships. All right. So then the next one, more of the endomorph type, is more of the caring, really caring, very encouraging. They're patient, they're relaxed, but they're not the go-getter, go after it, impatient, make it happen, let's get it done, like let's start today type of person. They're the opposite of that. Okay. So, but the thing I want to share with you just in a moment is that I always hired those people as my customer service and my general managers. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And then there's also the cool blue. That's more of that Vata-based personality. They're more questioning. They're more trying to get it done correctly. They're going to take their time. They're going to figure it out. They're a little bit more anxious. They don't want to make the wrong decision. They're very deliberate. They're going to ask a lot of questions, but they'll be more reserved at the same time. And that is not my personality like at all. I'm gonna ask you 100 questions when I want to learn something. And it's not because like I want to be annoying or anything like that. Like that's the thing is like their pittas aren't trying to be annoying. It's just like they want to figure it out. They find it fascinating. Like I literally find the world fascinating. I find business fascinating. I find health fascinating. Anything that I lock onto, that's why I'm also very careful of what I lock onto, because I want to learn it inside out. I want to know it. I want to say, how can I help? How can I share this with other people? So that's a big part of it. So if I already know that I'm the fiery red, right? And I know I can be overly aggressive. I can be overly energetic, all of these things. Okay, I need to find someone, because I can like turn a lot of people off if I go overboard on that. So of course I have to understand that and I have to tone myself down as well. But I know that my general managers, they should be out there and talking with the general public. They should be talking with people. They should be hiring the team. They should be taking their questions. They should be listening to all their objectives. They're going to be helpful when someone makes a second, third, or 12th mistake, that they're encouraging them. Where the pit is like, hey, we already went over this. There's a system for that, right? It's like that's that mindset. It's like you can't help it. Like, I thought we already went over this, right? You don't have it. And it's not again that they're trying to be mean. It's just like, well, we already talked about that. Why do we want to talk about it again? Where the sunshine yellow, they want to talk about it over and over. They want to develop the plan. They want to have the team meetings. Where again, the fiery red isn't, right? And in the cool blue, they're more cautious, right? And they're more deliberate. They're more questioning. They're not necessarily going to go out and they're going to meet all the people because they're a little bit more worrisome. They're a little bit more anxious about meeting all these different people. So what I would say is you are looking to find someone, and it might say like opposites attract. Well, not all the time, right? Not all the time. And in business, sometimes it's actually likes attract. It's not opposites. So you partner with someone that's just like you. And I see this happen all of the time. So you have two people who are the visionaries and they want to set strategy and they just want to go and create products and courses and all these things. But then nothing ever gets done because they're moving from project to project to project. Right? Because they have so many different ideas. Well, they need someone that's going to help them implement. And not only that, and that could be more of that Vata or the Kapha personality, the blue or the green, but they also need someone that once the thing is set up, they're going to answer the hundreds of emails a day. Who's going to do all that? Oh, that's going to be more of the endomorph, the kapha green, right? The earth green. And so we want to look at this and we really want to be self-aware. And again, I don't know what made me so self-aware when I was younger. I mean, in my 20s, I'm like, wow, I'm not really good at answering all these questions by email. Like it's the last thing that I want to do. Like I want to be working on my next article because back then I was writing an article a day, or I want to be filming something. I was already doing like videos back then. And so like that's what excited me. And where people don't understand, like there's a lot of people that get excited about answering someone's question and helping them, making their day by making sure that they're well taken care of. So we need all types of people in the world. One isn't better than the other. The kapha, the earth green, may never get a project off of the ground without the enthusiasm of the fiery red. Or the sunshine yellow, they'd spend all their time talking with people on social media. But that's an amazing person for getting out there and telling the world about a product or career or service that you have. Right? In the cool blue, if they didn't have someone pushing them forward, like the sunshine yellow or the fiery red, they might spend all their time questioning and worried if it's the right decision. And so it's funny because I know like my wife's my wife's personality. I know my kids' personality. I know my personality. I know like where they fit in all of these. And it's so fascinating because, in my like immediate family, we have everyone. We basically have everyone covered, because when I look at one of my daughters, they're a really nice mixture of that, yellow and green, and then one's more of the blue, I'm more of the red, and so it's funny. But you have to talk. You have to talk to each other in a different way. You have to understand. You have to be more empathetic. So one of the nice things is that you can start to realize that there is no one perfect personality, but it even goes much deeper when it comes to business and career, because you're not going to be successful if you choose a partner that's most likely just like you. It's very, very challenging. And I don't want to say that you won't be successful, because you very well may. Because if you both know that you're that individual, then you need to clearly delineate what each person is going to be able to do. Because two fiery reds, they're just not going to work together. Like, they're not going to get it done at the end of the day. It's not going to happen. It's very, very challenging, right? But if you had two fiery reds, they were in two different departments in charge of two different things, then that would work. That would work. But then at the same time, you say, okay, we need to hire then an earth green to be able to manage HR, to be able to manage our customer service. Like, we have to have that. So for you, just think about this. Like, if you know that you're not the best at getting back to people, follow-ups for emails or for scheduling or for any of these things, what do you need to do? Well, you need to hire then a virtual assistant or an assistant. I mean, again, I've talked about this before in a previous podcast. We'll link it up today at ihp.coach/204 of how to hire a virtual assistant for literally 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, 5 hours, maybe 1 hour a day maximum. And they can help you with all of these things. Or you get deeper into automation, which I do both. I'm automation and I've got an amazing team. And so that at the end of the day, what do I get to do? Well, I get to live my ideal life. Like, I know what that is. And it's because I get to do all of the fiery red things. Like, I get to write, I get to record, I get to create, I get to use my energy, I get to live with passion, I get to lead my team. But then I have what's called a director of operations at each of my different health-based companies. And what do? They are the ones that are going to be more patient. They're going to be more of the organizational. They're going to ask the right questions so everything goes correctly. They're going to take care of all the different customers. So I get to be maybe the voice for the company, but they are taking care of all the people on the back end. You may never get to meet all of the amazing people on our team, but they are what's making it happen day in and day out. And I just get to use this side of my personality to be able to do what it is that I do. Now, I love what I do. People are like, oh, I would burn out if I spoke for 8 hours a day like you do. And yeah, if you're not a fiery red, you would. But if you're a fiery red, it energizes you. At the end of the day, like my wife asked me, she's like, how are you still talking? Like joking around, because she's not a fiery red. And so what happens is she doesn't kind of get that would burn her out. And I get it and I understand. But for me, I feel great at the end of the day. And I still have plenty of energy and I can still do my workout because I'm living my personality. Whereas if I didn't have to speak at all, but I had to answer 400 different emails a day and different questions, that would burn me out. And so on the other side of that, you could say as well, I love writing. I love the organization. I love managing people. I love operations, but I don't want to be the enthusiastic, vocal person, visionary, creating all these different things, taking risks. If that's not you, then you may want to partner then with a fiery red. I would say that my directors of operations are all like outspoken, good people because they're managing teams, like they're high level, right? They're amazing. But I don't know that they want to be the voice for a particular company. And so all the different roles fit perfectly. And that's the thing is like you always want to put someone in the absolute right, correct role. So for you, I would encourage you that if you are not like the social media person and you're building a company, try to partner with someone that is going to create videos, that is going to be more of the voice of the company, because the both of you could do appointments, right? But one person would be more organization, set up the scheduling, set up the website, do the writing, and one person is going to do all the videos, the social media, the teaching, that type of thing. That's more like the fiery red, and the other person is going to be more the cool blue, right? Or maybe some of that earth green. So Because usually the fiery red will have a little bit of that yellow in there, right? The yellow and the red, more of those heat-based colors. They're gonna be more enthusiastic. They're gonna be a little bit more sociable when they need to be. And then the kind of the cool blue and the earth green work together as well. They're like, all right, they're more grounded, although the vata is, of course, air-based. But they're gonna be asking the right questions. They're not gonna be going too fast. Where the fiery red is on flames, they're on fire, they're going a million miles an hour, and the others are there to ground them on the other side. So choose your partner. Again, like we have a lot of like mother-daughter teams. We've got 2-person teams. They both do a podcast. One person's asking more of the reserved questions. The other person might be more of like the traditional host, bringing the energy in the beginning of the show. And it's a beautiful balance. So what I'm trying to share with you is that a lot of people think you need to be one particular energy or individual in order to be able to create a successful career. And it's just not it at all. It's not it. I might look like I run the show all the time. It's not the case. I do what I do in my career, in my business, but I've always then partnered with individuals, even if it was just a virtual assistant back in the day, that could do all of the things that enabled me to simply do more of what I love. And that's the thing. It's not like I took all this time off. It's like, no, I wanted to buy back time to do more of what I wanted to do. And so if I was able to pay a virtual assistant back in the day, $12 or $14 or whatever it was back in the day, I would do that. And they would come in and they would help me with my emails. They would help with, whatever it is, formatting, et cetera, filing. I mean, I would have stacks of paper, right? And they would go through and they would file all those things, and they very much enjoyed it. And it was a good job for them. What did I get to do? I get to do more, honestly, consulting, training, nutrition-based sessions, naturopathic doctor-based appointments, like all of those things. That's what I got to do. And so it was a worthwhile trade. It really was, because all of those things that they were doing would have drained me of my energy. I got to do more talking, which I enjoy doing, and it all works out. So just kind of keep that in mind. I wanted to bring this up for you because I know there's a lot of people trying to figure out where do they fit in the landscape of health and wellness and fitness. And this is an easy way to look at it. You can always not necessarily bring up your strengths, but you can play to bring up your weaknesses, but instead you can play to your strengths and then be able to outsource a little bit towards your weaknesses and maybe even partner with someone for the long run, as long as the both of you connect on your ideals and your mission to be able to make things happen. So hopefully this was helpful. I appreciate all of you. Thanks so much for tuning into the podcast. Let us know if you have any questions. All the show notes today are at ihp.coach/204.